Have you ever felt like life dealt you a hand you weren't ready for? I know I have. Imagine life as a game of cards. We don't choose the cards we're dealt, but how we play them determines our endgame. Sometimes the hand we're holding feels impossible, and the temptation to fold is overwhelming. That was me. A few years ago, I faced a relentless storm. Within 10 months, I lost my mum, dad, and husband. Just when I thought it couldn't get worse, my brother passed away a year later, and then my sister. I was grieving, broken, and exhausted, yet I was running a business, caring for my family, and trying to hold it all together.
Good morning, everybody. Great to be here again on a Thursday morning. It's so good to see you all. And it's great to have Marna here, Glenn Jones, and Wilhelm Lombard. This is the Vision 2025, and it's all about how do we make sure that this year is the best year ever. We did this, so we started a year ago, and we've been going a year, and we do this every Thursday. So welcome to the show. If you know anyone who can benefit from the show, please go along and send them a letter so they can come in and join us. And it's all about actually helping you to basically learn skills and learn from us and from our guest speakers about how to actually use those skills, that wisdom, and that experience to actually improve your lives. So this is our way to you, and we really appreciate your support. So today we've got Marna Rich. She's going to be talking about the deck of cards that you handed over when you are born. All of us are handed over a deck of cards, and it's hard to play them. But before we go there, let's just go through and ask our co-hosts to introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Glenn. Glenn, welcome to the show.
Thank you, David, and welcome everyone, and great to be on board again. Really worthwhile to do this, I must admit, and really a big honor. I think it's so great to be able to come into a show like this and learn from other people, learn from each other. I think it's really worthwhile. So, yes, I talk about myself as being a personal locksmith, not a personal jeweler, but a personal locksmith. And it's simply because I like to unlock that latent power, that amazing, incredible God-given potential that's inside every single person. I like to unlock that and help you step into your destiny and purpose. And my name is Glenn, as you can see on the screen, and I have a business called Mentorist Coaching. I actually do life and business coaching, but I also do counseling and mentoring. And that's where the name comes in terms of Mentorist. It's actually Latin for mentor. And speaking of mentoring, I've been doing a 13-week program for several years throughout the year, over the past couple of years, and inviting specific people on board. And I decided to really open it up more to the public this time around. So I'm actually starting another one pretty soon. We're actually meeting next week on Wednesday evening to actually chat about it and just give you more detail about it. Next week is for free, but thereafter, obviously, there's a cost involved. But we'll put something in the chat group about that. So I'm looking forward to that, and I think it's really great. Looking forward to getting some people on board and actually mentoring them through this program. It'll really be great. And really, that's me. So thank you. Over to you, David.
Thank you so much, Glenn. Great to have you here. We'll talk a little bit later about the 13-week program that Glenn's going to be putting on. Let's go to Wilhelm. Wilhelm was our guest speaker last week, and he spoke about the green chair. And those of you who maybe missed the show can go along and look at our Future Forward newsletter, where we actually summarized the discussion that we had and what Wilhelm's points of view, as well as all the expertise and all those gems that he's given us, so that we can actually have a better year this year. So, and a balanced life at that too, and not fall down on our chair. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the green chair, go and have a look at our newsletter called Future Forward. Go and subscribe to that. Let's get here from Wilhelm Lombard, the energy coach. Over to you, Wilhelm.
Yes, thank you, David. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for this great opportunity to be here with you guys. Life energy, it's all about quality of life. You know, I think when you lack energy, it's in different parts of your life. Your quality of life actually is lacking. So that's what I do. I'm a life energy coach focusing on quality of life, helping people, businesses to have more energy in their business. I do brain profiles and dream team development, communication styles, and all those things to help teams to communicate better, be more effective, and better quality of life in the workplace. And then also individuals. And I really focus on burnout prevention in a sense, because I was there and I know what it's all about to get close to burnout. And it's a never-ending story to stay balanced on in your life, and to really to help people to prevent it, to prevent the burnout thing. You know, on the one side of the energy scale, high energy, high performance, the other side is burnout, where you really lack, and where life quality is almost non-existent. So that's what I do, and I'm looking forward to what Marna is going to tell us, because if I just think about the story and how you started the story, that's challenging. So please, Marna, tell us more about what you did to overcome these challenges and to get through it. You know, one thing that I usually hold on to is that it is said in the Bible that we will never be tested above our powers. And that's the one thing that helped me. So there's no test that will be too much for me, although sometimes they're pushing it. So thank you very much for this opportunity to be here with you guys.
Thank you, Wilhelm. Absolutely. And those of you who would like to learn a little bit more about your energy tanks, Wilhelm does have a quiz that he offers. He'll put it in the chat. Go and do that energy quiz and find out if you've got the right energy to face your day. So thank you very much, Wilhelm. Well done. Let's go through to Marna. Marna is a successful short-term insurance broker. She basically specializes in both commercial and fleet insurance. She basically, if you want cheaper insurance for your fleet, then you get hold of Marna, because she's got a special package there. But anyway, let's hear from Marna. Marna, just introduce yourself, and then we'll go to Marna's our guest speaker this week. So Marna, we're looking forward to hearing from you. But just introduce yourself quickly, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Yes, I would just like to change one thing of your introduction. Is I don't sell cheap insurance, but I do offer alternative ways of insuring your fleet and logistics. So that makes us a little bit different in the market, because my income is a little bit lower, which means I don't ever lose those clients, because if you prepare to give a little bit back, you get more back. That's what I firmly believe in. So yes, I'm a short-term insurance broker. Just a little bit of background. I started my career in, shall I give my age away? 1998. Quite by accident, because I don't think you choose insurance. It's a very hard and difficult industry to be in it. And it's changing all the time, and you have to stay up to date all the time with legislation and all the things that changes. So yeah, we specialize in the commercial insurance, and we also we love absolutely the transport and logistics side of it. I started at a corporate company, which was part of Please Don't Judge, which was part of Sign-Off, and I did the whole of the Sign-Off. All of their fleets, which included Unitrons, the JD Group, and all of those big companies. And then at one stage, I decided, you know what, enough is enough. I just took my bag and I decided to start my own journey, which wasn't easy. It was hard. Because once you start, you know, it's kind of like you're on your own for a while, until you start looking around for people and places where you can relate to. And that's where I started with the networking. So that's where I came from. And 12 years ago, I started my own business, and I'm still going strong.
Fantastic, Marna. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to your talk today. Just a little bit about myself. My name is David Bauer, and what I do is I specialize in bid architecture. Bid architecture, you might be asking, what is that? We don't build buildings, but what we do is build tenders, documents, and proposals for companies who actually want to win tenders. I've been doing this since 86. That gives away my age. You can see the gray beard. But there's a lot of experience there, and we are very successful actually in those tenders. We've been doing it for so many years. We've got special techniques, and we know what to do. So those of you who would like to just go and have a look at my own profile on LinkedIn, you're most welcome. And I've also got a newsletter there that you can go and read and subscribe to as well, about how to actually win tenders. And we give a little bit of our experience away there. So those of you who would like to join us, you're most welcome to follow me there. So, but today is more about you and how we can help you to have a better year this year. So Marna's actually put together a fantastic presentation. This presentation, hold a second, I'm going to put it on. There we are. And it's about that we all are given a pack of cards when we actually are born. And what do we do with those cards is up to us. We have a choice on how to play it. And Marna's going to be talking about this. So, Marna, I'm going to give you the floor. Looking forward to your presentation. Over to you.
Okay, ready on that? Not here we go. So the first picture, it's about life. It's a deck of cards. It's how I felt my life was, and it took me a long time to realize how it works. But I'll take you through it. So if you look at the first picture on my title slide, it's a whole lot of cards stand out, and these cards symbolize the unpredictability of life. We cannot predict a minute of our life on what's going to happen. So I want to ask the question, have you ever felt like life has dealt you a hand you weren't ready for? Because believe me, I wasn't ready for when I started 12 years ago in my business. And I know the video talked about loss and grief and how many family members I have lost since I started my business. And I have lost like so many people in such a short time. And you still have to keep the balls in the air, which wasn't always easy. Because I know that I felt like I got a hand that makes you question if the game is even worth playing. Um, so life is like a game of cards for me. We don't choose the hand we dealt because life is unpredictable. We don't know what's next. But it's how we play the cards or life. And I talk about the cards as an unpredictable life. Um, determines your end game. So you are still in charge of what is going to happen to your life and how your end game is going to look like. And then everything actually goes back to Wilhelm's talk of last week. So I would really like you to go and listen to it. But it goes back to balance. If you don't have balance in your life, you're not going to get anywhere. It's then very difficult to get out of where you are. Sometimes we face immense challenges while we're juggling work, business, and our personal responsibilities. But you need to look after yourself. So, David, next slide, please. And, life again, my story is about it actually started way before I lost family members. When I started my business, I rented an office from a guy who was in the life insurance, and we thought, it was a good match because we could share clients amongst each other. If he can't help a guy on the short term, he would send it to me, and I would share my short term insurance people with the life side of it. We were in the offices for about 6 months. And then the guy decided, no, he's had enough of this life, and he ended his life. So that's where my journey started, right in the beginning. When I started my business, it sometimes felt to me like I was surrounded by death. It felt to me like I was followed by death, and it makes it difficult. And I need to tell you that throwing yourself into I started doing things the wrong way. So can you maybe do the next slide? I started working really hard. I threw myself into everything I could think of. I joined the Centurion Business Forum, where I was elected as the vice chairperson, a role I fulfilled for about 7 years. And then I joined like the Centurion Concerned Citizens, and I was driving like a mad person after thieves and people who tried to break into houses. And I did radio duty for 6 hours a day, every single day, normally nighttime, because that's when I felt the loneliest. I couldn't cope with being alone at night, so I did that at night. And then I also joined the International Primate Rescue Center, where I worked Saturdays. So I cleaned monkey cages. I've cut vegetables up that you got blisters on your hand. I was bitten, that I've spent 2 weeks in hospital. Then I also joined the SACBW, where I was chosen as the Businesswoman of the Year for 2022, and I was also the ambassador for 2023. So I kept myself very busy, not taking care of myself, hardly ever slept. And I did all those things to try and hide the hardship I was going through. To everybody around me, they thought, you are just I was referred to as the Easter woman. I'm not. I'm just a normal person trying to survive. And sometimes if you look at cards and you look at diamonds, now the diamonds represent to me your drive and your goals. And I've spent too much time on the diamond side. It's about, the hustle and the ambition you have, where your life is going to go, where you want your business to go. It's about the achievements, work responsibilities. And my journey is about the business leadership roles and the volunteer work I did. I hardly spent any time with friends. I just never could do that, because then I have to talk about my grief and I have to talk about my troubles, and I didn't want to do it. I just wanted to put it aside and forget about it. And the risk of focusing only on the achievements comes at a cost of your well-being. I worked myself into almost a complete burnout. Next slide, please. And this is the one that I hardly ever took care of, is self-care. And I think going through anything, whether you're going through a rough time in your business, in your relationships, or whether you are trying to go through grief and loss, it's something you really need to focus on, is to take care of yourself. Self-care, personal fulfillment, and emotional well-being is so important. Finding energy, renewal through painting, fostering dogs, and slowing down was something I did. And it took me a couple of years to realize that I need to take care of myself, because if my cup is empty, I can't pour anything out. And you can't give what you don't have anymore. So during COVID, I started painting. And I started refurbishing furniture, which I absolutely love doing, still doing. And you need to teach yourself to slow down, because you can't save the world, but you can save one person or one thing at a time. It's like the question of how would you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. And I try just to take the whole elephant. So next slide. So the clubs to me represent your sort of support system. And although I had a lot of support through the connections I made with the Centurion Business Chamber, there were two people, the vice chair and the secretary. The chairman was Lapis, Johan Lapis Gachni, and then Johan Dievenhoff. And I think they amongst themselves decided they're going to make sure that I'm going to survive this. And if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have. In the beginning, because in about a space of, I think it's in the video, a space of 10 months, I lost first my mother, and then it was July, and the next year, on the 1st of April, so April Fool's Day has a whole new meaning to me, my father passed away. And then a month and 4 days later, I lost my husband. So this was a lot to deal with. You have to deal with the grief. You have to deal with all the arrangements and the estates and the whatever goes with that. And I took care of all of them while they were sick. And at one stage, it was so bad that they were in 3 different hospitals. So I have to manage work, manage clients, make sure that I see them in hospital, make sure that they have the support they need at home, and still manage to keep on going. So your support system is very important, to not to let go of people that care about you. And I sometimes felt I was very alone, but it was due to my own fault. I kind of locked myself in because I didn't want to talk about it. So hang on to those people that care, because there are people around there that care. A lot of them are too afraid to contact you because they don't know how to handle it. They don't know what to say. But to those of you listening in today, if you don't know what to say nothing. Just say hello or how are you. That's all you need to do. I learned a lot from community mentorship and relationships. And as I said, Dave, Lapis and Jaco make turns. So one morning, Lapis would phone and say, come on, it's time to get up. Life goes on. And then the next morning, Jaco would do the same thing. And that went on for months. And I really, really appreciate that today. So leaning on business networks and organizations is also a way that you can cope with whatever life throws at you. Because, we're all business owners going through a rough time, and we can learn from one another. You don't have to play your game alone. Next slide, please. So, Spades, I still need a lot of work on this one. I must be honest. It's about cutting back and letting go. So when I was at my worst, was that I took too much on my plate, and I couldn't cope with it all. I hardly slept because I prefer to do the night shift on the Centurion Concerned Citizens. And I not only did the Centurion, I did the Western Cape, I did the whole of South Africa. So it was 6 hours at a time. So 6 hours out of my night, I did radio duty. So you have to let go. And a friend of mine always said, no is also a sentence. So I had to learn how to say no, because it was easy for me to say yes, because I thought, I've got nothing else to do. Let me do this and let me do that. And you take on more and more and more responsibilities, which is not taking you anywhere in life. So setting boundaries is also something I still battle with, but it is important for your survival. Is you have to set boundaries. You have to say, I am not available from this time to that time, because now it's my time. And learning to say no without guilt. Every time I say no to a project or to somebody who needs help, it eats me up alive. Saying no is one of the most difficult things, but it can also be rewarding. And that I learned the hard way. Sometimes when you have to say no to a difficult thing, it's just an amazing feeling. But you have to get yourself there to say, no, this is it. And letting go of roles and tasks that drain you. Sometimes we say yes to things that really drains the life out of you. You have to walk away. You have to stand back and walk away from those. Next slide. Now, the Joker represents the unpredictable things that life throw at you. grief, setbacks, unexpected turns of life. You might lose a contract, you might lose a loved one, you might have a difficult time with employees, insurers that doesn't want to pay claims on my side. You have to beg, you have to crawl. So those are the unpredictable things that life throws at you. You never know when you're going to get the joker. It just comes. If you're lucky, you'll never have it. And sometimes the joker is a good one too, because it can take you out of a very bad space and make you think, listen, I have to focus now to get out of this mess I am. And you need to learn to adopt. You need to learn how to play the card that has been thrown at you. Next slide. So the end game. When we David and I spoke about it yesterday in the call. I just want to go back to the Joker, which I forgot to mention, that the Joker actually reminds us that life isn't fair. No one ever said that life is fair. Sometimes a lot of people ask me, but it's not fair what's happening to you. But what is fair? And if I look back today at what I've gone through, I mean, and my brother passed away in as well, and my sister a year ago. So the last 6 years, I felt loss very, very, very close to my heart, and it kind of still feels like, I get nervous when somebody gets sick. But the end game is playing a balanced hand, and balance to me is very important. The one thing that I learned, and I think life or the universe kept on telling me how important time is. Are you balancing your cards or your life wisely? Do you make enough time for things that really matters? And in the end game, I also want to mention that you need to prioritize your life. You need to literally go and sit down and say, these are my priorities. Write them down as they come into your head, and later on go back and number them from 1 to 10 or 1 to 20 or 1 to how many priorities you might have. But make sure that you know your priorities are in order. Which suit do you need to focus more? So how would you arrange your life or arrange your priorities so that you can focus more, so that you're not as drained by life itself and whatever is being thrown at you? The goal isn't a perfect hand, it's playing with what you have. We can't determine what hand of cards we are going to be dealt with. But the most important thing I learned is to know when to walk away. When do you play the cards you're being dealt with, or when do you walk away? The key is not winning in life or about getting a perfect hand. It's playing your cards wisely. And just like in any card game, sometimes the best decision isn't to push harder. It's to step back and recharge and refocus. Those are 3 very important things that I learned, and I had to learn it the hard way. Walking away doesn't mean giving up. Walking away from a project or a policy, a prospect, or whatever, is not the end of the world. It means that you chose what is best for you, your well-being, and your future, and whatever you decide is going to affect the future of the people around you. We don't control life. We can't control life, even if we want to control life. I like to be in control of things, and it's the worst space to be in. You just have to know how to manage life setbacks. So I want to ask you, how are you going to play your card?
Oh, thank you so much, Marna. I mean, that's so interesting. I love the way that you put it. You know, we all given a set of cards at the beginning of our life. We don't choose our parents. We don't choose where we are located, where we're going to be born, in which country. We don't choose what country we're born in. We are basically put there, and then we are handed the cards, and we need to actually start to deal with them. And it's how we play, and that is so true. I mean, I look at my grandfather. I mean, my grandfather was uneducated. He was at the age of 14. He went to fight in the First World War in Southwest Africa. He didn't have parents at all. Both his parents had died, and yet he made a success of his life, and he actually became significant. And that was, he dealt with the cards in the correct ways. Thanks for sharing that. I think you know, it's all up to us on how we actually deal with the cards that we dealt with. And another thing that you said, which was very, very important, you know, time is so important. You know, use it wisely. I mean, this weekend we had to go down to Durban, and you know, I just said to Anna, instead of us driving down to Durban, driving back to Pretoria, and then flying down to Cape Town for a wedding that we have to go to on Saturday, let's just take a road trip, drive between Durban and Cape Town, and that's what we're doing. And currently we're in Morgan's Bay. I haven't been here since I was 7 years old. That's the last time I was here at Morgan's Bay in the hotel. But what a fantastic thing to do. You know, it's just using that time. And also, I mean, the other thing is, this morning, you know, I said to Marna, let's get up early, see the sunrise, and actually then go for a walk. And we did that. So, you know, that's basically using your time efficiently and actually just taking off that time and using it wisely. So thank you, Marna, for sharing that. Let's hear from Glenn, and then we'll go through to Wilhelm, just to hear what your takeaways are. Glenn, over to you.
Thank you, David. And Marna, that was brilliant. Absolutely amazing. I think it's such an incredible analogy that you've used over here as far as the deck of cards to explain what life is about. And it's exactly true. It's fascinating to me how many people are going through these things. And the biggest challenge is the response most of the time is just to work harder. And it's just to keep busy, just to keep on working harder. And it does create those issues in terms of loneliness and in terms of burnout. And Willem talk about that as well, as far as the burnout is concerned. It's really scary how many people are actually going through burnout at the moment. But I think it's absolutely brilliant what you've done. And I certainly want to go through this again. Interesting enough, the program that I do, the 13-week program, mentoring program, actually is exactly that. It actually assists people to work through these issues. And so that's why I enjoy it so much, because I can actually help people to work through those things. But yeah, I think all of us are dealt this card and we need to work through it. I give a talk about two things that we don't have control of in life, and that is time and change. We can't control it, nothing that effect. But you mentioned a particular word, and that's what we need to do, and that's manage it. We need to manage it correctly. And that's really what you spoke about. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Loved it. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
so
Glenn.
much. Thank you. Thanks, Glenn. Thanks. Yes, but Helen, what's your takeaway from what Marna was talking about?
Thank you, David, and thank you, Marna. It was absolutely a fantastic story, and using the cards, as Glenn said, is a very nice way to explain this. And yeah, I think, you know, what really happens with you as well, and it's happening with so many people. The moment, as Glenn also mentioned, when you are in that stress mode, you are actually in survival, because there's things that happen and you are trying to survive. And it's almost like walking in the bush and you hear some branches cracking or whatever, and immediately you are focusing on what are the different dangers, because now you are focusing on that specific things. And it just puts yourself more into the survival mode, because now you are just working harder, trying to to cope with this situation, and you get stuck into the survival mode, and it's very difficult to get out of that, and it drains a lot of your energy. Now, so many people are there, and we know it, but we don't know what to do. And that's why it's so important to talk to life coaches, on people that's just outside of your circumstances. And because it's huge for you, it's serious, but somebody outside can give you the tools. And that's what we guys try to do, is to give you the tools. And thinking about your energy, you mentioned the fact that you didn't you didn't want to talk to people. You actually neglect that energy tank, your social energy tank, and that's a huge support system. But because of going into survival and coping with your situation, you just neglect that. And that's the important thing. We need to fill our energy tanks. I talk about 7 energy tanks, and that's your spiritual, your emotional, your mental, your physical, your social, work, and finance. So those are things that are important in our lives. But we need to fill all those different energy tanks, because if you neglect one, you lack that energy. And I think that is what most people battle with. They know, we can search on the internet and say, but what's the symptoms of burnout or whatever, and then you read it, and then you can, usually people can identify with it and say, yes, I'm there. But they don't know what to do, because you are so into it yourself. It's just too much. It's overwhelming. So I think with your discussion today, I hope lots of people realize, but listen, I'm not alone in this. I must get myself in balance, because then you cope a little bit more. I usually talk about it's like a surfboard. You are on a surfboard of life, and you need to ride the waves of life. But you need to stay on top of that surfboard, and you need a lot of balance. Now, the balance is those different energy tanks. It will keep you on the board. The waves are there, as you've mentioned. We can't predict what waves are coming our way. You just need to stay on the board to be able to handle it. And on the long run, these things catch up with us. We die before our time, we suffer diseases, all those different things. So it's so important to, as quick as possible, before you even feel that you are on the road of possible burnout, you need to already, and that's what my little questionnaire do. It's actually a stupid little questionnaire, 1 minute, but it tells you so much, and it can tell you, but listen, you are already going into the burnout phases or stages before you even know it. Because when you know it, it's usually too late. Then you don't have the energy to work yourself out of it again. So I want to encourage everybody to do that little questionnaire, just to know where you are currently, the reality check, as I call it. And then take some action and say, but listen, I need some help. Just give me some things. Now, what I usually do, I can give you a roadmap to get from where you are to where you want to be. And it's an hour, maybe, discussion or coaching session. And with that roadmap, you can get out of your problems in a way. Sometimes people need some more coaching and help to take them further, and that's your decision. But don't suffer alone. Don't suffer alone, because it's like sport injuries. It hurts your body in all different aspects of your life, and you sit with that for the rest of your life. So, people burn out between the ages of 33 and 55. That's the most. That's the danger area. But I find younger people are starting to get to that burnout stages, younger and younger, even as young as 20 years old. So make sure you check yourself, do the test, It's almost like checking your fuel gauge of your car to see if you got the energy to take the journey. And don't just have a business plan, but also a life energy plan so that you can go the full distance. You know, I'm almost 63 now, and I want to go, let's say 95 or so. That's not my decision. But if I then go to 95 or 100 or whatever, I want to walk out of my session with somebody, drop dead just there, and then I've had a great life till the very end. But if you are not looking after yourself, you actually kill yourself before your time. So sorry for that negative end of the story, but I urge you guys to really to do that test, do something about your life, and make the best of life, because life is good as well. It's wonderful, and focus on what you want, not on what you have. Nah, that's the important thing. Thank you, David.
Well, thank you. Wow, thank you, Wilhelm. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, well, you know, we are here to help you. This is what the session is about. It's about helping you to actually ensure that you have the best year ever. And we've got certain tools. You know, we're basically here to help you. Next week, we're going to be doing a network session on Zoom. It's going to be a little different from this. So we're all going to participate. You can come and join us. We're going to have some breakaway rooms, so we each introduce ourselves. So come and join that. It's going to be a little bit different show. We're going to do that on a monthly basis with something new we're going to try out. So we're looking forward to that event. So please come along and join us. What we'll be doing is we'll be putting what everyone has said here and what Marna's presentation onto the Future Forward newsletter. We'll be summarizing that, so you can go along and have a look at that. Please subscribe. And if you have any other colleagues, friends, family members who can benefit from being here, please invite them and them to follow us on LinkedIn, the Vision 2025 page, and our Future Forward. So I'd really appreciate that. That's where we give away all these gems and all this experience and wisdom, so that you can show that you have a life. So I'm going to ask Marna to wrap up, and then I'll just ask for one word from each of our co-hosts to tell us what they're going to do, the one word of what inspires them about today's session, and then their action point of what they're going to do to ensure that they have a winning game at the end of the day with the cards that they've been dealt with. Marna, please wrap up for us.
Yes, I want to start. Actually, two things I learned in my journey was don't be afraid to ask for help. I remember my daughter enrolled me into a grief session or a grief program at the church, and I went for one. But one should not go back and say, but why did I not, and why this and why not? Because I firmly believe life happens as it's supposed to be. But I think I would have been in a better place sooner had I stayed. Because I just thought, what am I doing here? And then the second thing is when you are faced with the loss of a loved one, you kind of want time to just stand still for a moment. Reality check doesn't. Life just goes on, and you have to keep up. But you also have to sit down and look back and say, listen, let me just regroup and then go on. I wasn't in the fortunate position to have enough time after every time someone died. I had no time to grieve one, then the next one, and then the next one. But take time for yourself. You've earned that, just to look or to take care of yourself. Otherwise, you can't take care of anybody else around you. You need to take that little bit of time for yourself. And then, of course, family. And please ask for help. Don't wait until you're completely at a stage where you're at a burnout. Don't be afraid or ashamed. There's no shame in asking help. There's no shame. I learned that too late in the process. So please ask for help.
you, Marna. Great. I'm going to ask, I'm going to end off with Glenn. Wilhelm, can you give us your one word and what action you're going to take to ensure that you have a better end game?
I'm focusing on my quality of life, staying in balance, and keep my energy tanks filled.
Thank you so much. Glenn, over to you, and please tell us a little bit more about your program that's starting next week regarding the Map Cafe, Map power of getting your life back in order using the Map for Life process. Over to you, Glenn.
Thanks again, David. I think my one word is actually two words, and it's purposeful living. Purposeful living.
Nice.
If I had to make a statement in terms of the whole program, it's about don't live by default, live by design. Let me repeat that. Don't live by default, live by design. And that's never necessarily easy, especially when you're going through things like Marna went through. I mean, it's really never pleasant. To go through something like it is just, I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy, quite frankly. But the program is quite fascinating. It's been running for many, many years, over 3 decades. And it's worldwide, and it really does work. We use age-old techniques and principles, and principles work, like gravity. Whether you believe it or not, it works. And so that's what we're about. So I'm looking forward to meeting with a whole bunch of people next week. Next week is Coffee on Me for free. It's just a get-together, just to chat, give you an overview, and then you decide from there if you want to actually join or not. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Thank you very much for the opportunity and the time, and wish you all the best, everyone. Bless you all.
Great, thank you so much, Ben. I'm just going to put it on the screen quickly. So, for those of you who are interested, you can watch this. It's a 13-week Map for Life program. It's 1,500 Rand per person, but the first session is just to find out more. The venue is at the Mug and Bean Irene Mall. Some of you might be very far away, but it's on the first floor, and it's on Wednesday the 5th at 6:30, and this Glenn's number. I'll just repeat Glenn's number. It's 082-322-6549. Give Glenn a ring and let him know that you're going to come. See if you're Netherlands or Nigeria or wherever, you won't be able to come, but you can find out more by following Glenn, and he might even have an online one as well. I'm not sure. So anyway, that's maybe something to look forward to. So, Marna, thank you very much to you. I really appreciate the time and effort that you've done to actually give us to tell us about the cards, and to actually, it makes it very simple. So, read a little bit more about that in the Future Forward newsletter, which we'll send out probably today or tomorrow. And then you can go and read that. So good luck, and have a fantastic week. I wish you all the best, and we'll see you next week at the networking session. It's going to be quite fun. You're going to have to just bear with us because it's the first time we're going to do it. So there might be some hiccups, but we'll do it. So thank you so much. So Marna, thank you. Alan, great. Thank you again. Glenn, thank you very much. And Marna, if you want to just say one word to everyone, just to wrap it up. Thank you.
I wonder if I can do one word in Afrikaans. My one word would be Spades. It means just hanging there. I think Spades, if I may.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so there we are. Thank you, guys, and I'm going to end the show. Thanks so much. See you next week, same time, Thursday. Fantastic. Bye.
Make time for what truly matters. The hand I was dealt wasn't about defeating me. It was about teaching me to play the game better. And I hope my story inspires you.